Okay, welcome to Marchese Methods. Today, this time, I'm going to be a little bit of a newscaster, a little bit of a broadcaster here with this breaking story. And that story being that a healthcare CEO was assassinated last week by a Luigi Mangione. And what's interesting about this is that there's two camps emerging, two viewpoints emerging out of this, and really it's kind of like the biggest test of do you get it or do you not? On one end, Luigi Mangione is getting heralded as a hero and some sort of high IQ, super smarty pants, genius guy who's saving the country and making a real good political point about healthcare by murdering some poor guy. And there's the other camp of people who disavow him, see what a fraud he is, see what a total risless, auraless, completely lacking in charisma character he is, who is trying way too hard to sound smart and edgy. I am a part of the latter camp, so we'll go over why I am and the points to be made. But this also gets at something that everyone overlooks, but I want to get into, which is that you don't even need health insurance. Realistically, once you look into it and all of that, you don't even really need it. And everyone's been whining about it so much, but you don't need it. In short, the real answer, if you want to close out the video right now, the real answer is just quit being a fat fucking retard. And magically, all your health problems go away. So, let's go over the story and this character a little bit first. So, he assassinates the CEO. He runs off to McDonald's or something, and he gets caught and busted. And people have been digging him up and saw that he had some sort of back injury way in the day. He's been reading, books like How to Win Friends and Influence People, which should tell you enough right then and there. He's listening to like Taylor Swift on Spotify or whatever. And people are trying to say, oh, well, he's based. He's a cool Chad alpha bro who's, ripped and all that. So he's based, dude. And he's fucking not. Because, first of all, totally fucking disavow murder, even in the most tense political circumstances. Some people will argue, well, he murdered a murderer, as if this guy implemented, created the whole concept of health insurance and all of that, and as if he's the one like on the floor, on the front lines of healthcare. He's not. And some might say, oh, well, the policies he's enacted. And it's like, well, let's look into what kind of care people need. And as it turns out, more so people are actually just killing themselves. So the really what that's all code for is just being a fucking seething, envious, bitchy, whiny, pathetic, poor person getting mad that rich people are rich. That's really what that part boils down to. So now this guy was jacked, allegedly. I shouldn't even say jacked. To normies, he's jacked. To everyone who's a gym bro knows that he's just kind of like a lanklet. And, some people are getting mad that women are like doing the thing that they do where they, want to bang the sociopathic murderer, whatever. I mean, that's really not worth mentioning anymore. Last time that happened was like 70 years ago. We know what that is, we know what that problem is. Now, heralding him as a hero tells on yourself that you are poor and seething. It also tells on yourself that you have an IQ problem. And it also tells on yourself that you just don't even understand what it means to be an active character, so to speak. And the first example of that was when he was arraigned. He turns around and he's looking at the media and he says, "This is completely out of touch and a total insult to the American people and their lived experience." Like, in that tone. Maybe not with the lisp gimmick that I do, but in that tone. And how do you not get so off put by that? That is so Redditor, midwit, try hard, 110 IQ, thinking he's a 130 IQ, romanticizing it. Like, this is your brain on too many movies and millennial TikTok poor whining about the fucking gas prices and house prices and healthcare prices. All right. Furthermore, just think about that for a moment. Well, actually, let's go over a little bit of his manifesto here. Okay. To further drive home the point that you have to be an idiot to think this guy's cool. He's not. He's a fucking dweeb. So I'm going to read the introduction to his midwit manifesto, which, by the way, is not even long enough to be a part of like an op-ed. Bro murdered somebody, got himself sent to jail for this like half-ass midwit, told chat GPT to insert like smarty pants words in it manifesto that doesn't even make a case, that doesn't even make a point. So let's start with the intro here. In this era of towering skyscrapers, artificial intelligence humming quietly through hospital corridors, and the endless litany of self-congratulation over the triumphs of medical science, I find myself compelled to break my silence. Our civilization boasts of its healthcare systems as if they were not only the apex of scientific achievement, but also a paragon of human morality. Yet I stand here, pen in hand, seething with indignation, filled with profound sadness, and forced at last to cast aside all pretenses. I must speak the truth. Our modern healthcare system, especially in this country, is a cathedral built on sand. Beautiful in its architectural conceits, but rotten at the foundation, a monument to hypocrisy and greed. Do not mistake my words as those of a lunatic or a lone fanatic. On the contrary, I have observed long and hard, meticulously compiling evidence, listening to the cries of the afflicted, and studying carefully the machinery of oppression that masquerades under the guise of healing. To some, I may appear as an isolated voice with an aberration within a culture that seems hypnotized by the glow of technological process. But I know there are countless others who share my despair, who have looked with aching hearts upon loved ones left untreated, patients bankrupted by basic therapies, researchers stifled by corporate interests, and communities abandoned by hospitals that deem their existence, quote, not profitable. My decision to articulate this scathing condemnation arises not from hatred of humanity, but from a profound love for what humans could be if we only tore away the veil. Wow. Real articulate. Whoa. So you're like really upset. That must mean I should take this more seriously. Now he goes on here. You could just find this. Excuse my disdain for video editing and not putting it up on the screen here. But you could find this, but it sounds like that the entire time. It doesn't make a case about anything. It just says the big fat meanies were being big fat meanies, and I'm a nicey pants and the big fat meanies, and they all just want to get freaking width. They're all getting width. So what's remarkable about that too is we start to think about, let me do this Windows thing here, window snapping. So what's remarkable about that is we start to think about, firstly, the whole idea of, they're rejecting your claims and all of that. Did it ever occur to anybody to actually read their fucking health insurance policy, the one that they took out? Half the time people just take any insurance policy, think that covers everything, and then get mad when it turns out not to cover some things. What's more, complaining about the prices of health insurance is just so fucking gay in that sense, because when you're 20 years old, you don't need to be taking out policies that cover like heart surgery or whatever. There are different levels to different policies, and oftentimes, if you were just fucking healthy, you'd be able to take out policies that are relatively cheap. Sorry for that. The camera rock in there. I'll try to chill out a little bit here. So, and one of his gimmicks, this is my favorite. This is like one of the most mid-witted things ever. One of the things he says is, the U.S. has the most expensive healthcare system in the world, yet lowest life expectancy. So, first of all, we can't just look at the big number means problem and small number means problem. Duh. But this number is big, but this one's small, so that means that the rich people are trying to get rich. Duh. Did we ever stop to think that the U.S. spends the most in healthcare in the world because it's one of the biggest economies in the world? Make more, spend more. And lowest life expectancy. Well, and we'll investigate this. Well, when you look into why our life expectancy is low, is because everyone's a fucking fat fuck. All of the biggest expenses with healthcare and all of the leading causes of death are literally preventable by quit being a fat fuck, quit doing fucking drugs and alcohol. Not that hard. So, really, this guy it's the Midwit Manifesto, and it doesn't make a case, and it's just so underdeveloped and unsophisticated and low IQ, and doesn't even talk about any actual problem. So really, this all just hints at what's the denominator here. What can we rule this? We could rule out any actual case here, and really what this is just poor people being mad about rich people being rich. You know, this poor guy, his family has to suffer. He got murdered in cold blood in like the gayest way possible. He really was probably just as much of a cog in the machine as anybody else. And he's not responsible for how health insurance and the healthcare system is gay and retarded anyway. So, now, if you think this guy is a hero, you're just like totally a poor, low IQ bonehead. You know, especially when you investigate him, he has the most like, he thinks he's edgy, but he's not. He has the most like normie ass opinions. And he listens to fucking Taylor Swift, and he reads How to Win Friends and Influence People, which, by the way, some people who know me, I went through the reading Barnes & Noble self-help books phase. Everyone went through them. But that book in particular is just like so... That book, you know what it says? Put your nicey pants on. Be in nicey pants and put your nicey nice pants on, and then everyone's going to be nice to you, and then kumbaya. Really like low level stuff that should not be considered edgy. That should be considered level 1 generously. So, and this is really just trash, like criminalistic, low impulse control, subhumanoid behavior to be running around like this, parading around as if we're a hero because we fucking murdered some poor guy. So, now, let's get into insurance. Let's get into the premise of insurance, and let's get into my case as to why you don't even need health insurance in the first place. All right. So, the way it basically is set up is you might come across an expense that you absolutely need to pay for because what's being offered on the other side of that money is something that you desperately need. Your heart surgery, whatever, your car so that you could drive to work. But you can't afford it in this moment. You don't have enough money saved. So in comes insurance, where a bunch of people's money is pooled together and then it's distributed once you make a claim to it regarding some sort of expense that you absolutely need and that insurance policy covers. There's different kinds of policies, as I mentioned earlier, whereby if you don't anticipate having a heart attack, you might want to take out a health insurance policy that doesn't cover that because it might be a little bit cheaper every month, and you might be trying to manage your monthly expenses as well. So now I mentioned earlier, with these different policies comes different coverages. So a lot of times people just don't even fucking know what their policies cover. And granted, they are long and arduous reads, but that's what happens. Like reading the fine print, you got to understand it. If you can't really understand it fully, just try to get a basic gist and at least know what's gray area and what's black and white. So right away, this becomes a problem all the time because people think they can claim something that they can't, and then they cry that the rich people are trying to get their profit. And that's also because poor people really don't understand anything in like outside of terms of like more num-nums, more goodies. They're so low level operationally that all they can think about is want more money for more goodies, want more sex for more feelsy goodsies, want more foodsies for dopies, and that's all they could really think of. So the only analysis they could do of other people or things outside of themselves is they necessarily presume that everyone else and everything else could only possibly operate on lizard brain. Now I talk a lot about lizard brain people and all of that, but that's the fundamental thing to address when you are trying to change your behavior, because it is the lowest form of behavior that often is self-destructive. Right. So with that being said, that premise of insurance, what truly is the offer here? What is the good or service that really is offered? And in reality, what it really just offers is the alleviation of anxiety. And normies operate on strictly feelsies, so all they can think about is alleviating badsy feelsies and getting more feelsy goodsies. All right. So, and the reason why this anxiety is so prominent, especially regarding health, is that people literally are TikTok brain rotted and Hollywood fucking movie brain rotted, and they'll watch like the Avengers where a character gets like blown up inside a building and they think that's going to happen to them. People really like watch movies and think, oh, I better take out a health insurance policy in case my leg gets blown off by some space laser wizard. Like, when the fuck does that ever happen? If you just optimize by looking at the top 10 causes of death and the top 10 expenses, and we'll go over that shortly, everything, it has nothing to do with like actual like severe injuries like that. And you could further mitigate that risk, and we'll go into that shortly, by just not taking fucking dangerous jobs or whatever. Some people have to do it, and those people should then take out or save money, which I'll get into. Take out policies that address that. All right. So the movie scene injuries, the movie scene dramatic injuries don't happen, but people also just kind of presume that any heavily expensive care is somewhat probable, and it really isn't. People also have this anxiety because they figure that under no circumstance could they ever in a million years possibly have some money saved up for this fucking thing, because normies are what they are, and as soon as they have money, they got to spend it on feelsy goodsies. So they don't save money despite being able to. And some people might say, well, the average American can't afford an $1,000 emergency expense. Right, because the average American is average, so they're a fucking idiot. And the reason why I mention this is because I'm not actually trying to change the average normie. I'm trying to poke a hole in a lot of these things for people who feel like there's something missing and feel like the system, they're not buying into this idea that the system is correct, but they can't quite put their finger on it. This is who that's for. right? So while there's normies who certainly will never in their whole life save $1,000 for an emergency, it's very likely that if you're watching this, you're going to be the type of person who can. You are just have to undo all of the things that are fed into you and recognize that there are other people just like you, which is me, your spiritual guru here, your life coach, your Marchese method teacher, your professor, your eyes on the prize coach. There we go there. All right. So people presume that they're never going to have any money saved for this type of thing because, God forbid, we save a little bit of money instead of blowing it on fucking dopey alcohol. People also seem to think that these expenses are so often and so probable that the rate at which you would spend money on them exceeds the rate at which you could save money for them. Right? So like even if you just save $100 a month for a year and like presume you can go an entire year without getting like a health issue, you'll then have $1,200 and it'll just keep going from there. Right? People also mistakenly overlook, well, this is something that always gets overlooked because their brains are so fucking lizard brain fried. Did we ever stop to think about how we could actually mitigate a lot of the health related expenses, the risk of health related expenses? In fact, most of the most expensive and arduous healthcare expenses and procedures are entirely preventable by ding, 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 not being fucking obese and an alcoholic. Wait, but I want my num num there. I want my alcohol. I didn't think of that. People really can't fathom the possibility of living a life without alcohol and fucking num nums. Okay. People also forget the part where hospitals can't refuse you care if you have a life-threatening injury. Yeah, the whole profit thing, that actually stops at the part where you're going to die if they don't take care of you. People also conveniently forget that there's such a thing as payment plans or just taking out, a loan for these expenses. Now, people might have a big fat heart attack at that prospect because, ooh, debt, ooh. But the advantage of that is still that you are only paying somebody else money when a service is actually rendered to you rather than paying and losing your money if that service never gets rendered to you. All right. So really, the appeal is to get immediate relief from anxiety, even if it is to our own interests getting subverted, because realistically you want to exit the whole idea of an insurance system in the first place. You want to be at such a state financially that you don't pay anybody money for anything unless you need it. So now let's get into probability and mitigating that risk. A couple key factors and important points. So firstly, the injuries part. These injuries won't happen if you're not retarded. And these injuries that happen in movie scenes aren't going to fucking happen to you. So that's part one. If you work a dangerous job, take out a health insurance policy that accommodates that. And it's still highly improbable anyway. So then it becomes mitigating risk. So like I said, the crazy concept, I know, but you can actually ensure your health by being fucking healthy. What does that mean? That doesn't mean sitting around all the time. That also doesn't mean half-ass bullshit fucking 20-minute walks every week. That means getting serious about the gym, getting serious about eating well, getting serious about staying active, getting serious about, other habits, getting serious about quitting your fucking precious alcohol and fucking weed. Quitting this. Bro. You ever think about the, universe, man? That's what you look like. That's not even an exaggeration to be funny. That is what you look like. You really want to be that at the price of your health too, at the price of your dignity and your health. So knock it the fuck off with the drugs and alcohol, and knock it the fuck off with fucking chronically masturbating, and get to the fucking gym. Get serious about the weightlifting. You'll see all my other stuff about what it means to be serious. Not 20 minutes, not 30 minutes, an hour and a half to 2 hours of serious weightlifting where it's seriously challenging, not every other day, not 5 days a week, fucking 6 or 7, bare minimum. And watch, magically, you'll never have to visit the fucking doctor again. And in fact, let's take a look at, I'm just going to read some of these off to you. Let's see. Healthline. Dude, I had, let's see, the one from healthline.com. Well, actually, I could click on it in my article here. Excuse me for a moment. Okay. Where is it? Here we go. Healthline. Okay. So let's look at, I'll scroll up here. Okay. For over a decade, heart disease and cancer have claimed the first and second spots amongst leading causes of death. Together, the two causes are responsible for 37.5% of deaths in America, combined with the third most common cause. Okay, COVID-19. Fucking retarded. Let's just go over everything except that because that's fake and gay and made up. All right, heart disease. Heart disease is a term for describing a range of conditions that affect your heart and blood vessels. These include heart arrhythmias, coronary heart disease, artery disease, heart defects. All right, it's responsible for 20% of deaths every year in the United States. Most common among men. That makes sense I won't get into why that makes sense. People who smoke, people who are overweight or obese, people with a family history of heart disease or heart attack, people over the age of 55. And even then, the over the age of 55 part is because most of those people were obese their whole life. Okay, tips for prevention: quit smoking, eat a healthier diet, exercise at least 30 minutes per day, 5 days a week. That's not enough. We talk a lot on this channel about how that's not enough. 30 minutes a day is not going to get you to be a sexed up fucking health maniac, meaty monster. And then it says maintain a healthy weight too. Okay. Cancer, most common among people of a certain age, people who use tobacco and alcohol, people exposed to radiation, sunlight, chronic inflammation, people who are obese. But what? That doesn't make sense. Crazy concept, but somehow it fucking has a relationship. Okay, what causes tips for prevention? Maintain a healthy weight. Quit smoking and drink in moderation. How about don't drink at fucking all? Avoid direct exposure to the sun for extended... That's fake. The tanning bed part is real, but overall sunlight is fake. Regular cancer screenings. Okay. Yada, yada. We'll skip the COVID part because that's retarded. The fourth leading cause of death, accidents. Ha! Yes! Yes! Ha! See, I do need a health insurance policy. It's responsible for 6% of deaths in the United States. Okay. It's common among men, people ages 1 to 44, people with risky jobs. 3 leading causes of accident-related deaths are unintentional falls, motor vehicle traffic deaths, unintentional poisoning deaths. I bet the unintentional falls, like Sojin, just like fucking stand upright, bro. Next one down. Stroke. More common, 4.7% of total deaths, men, women using birth control, diabetics, high blood pressure, people with heart disease, people who smoke. Tips for prevention: maintain a healthy weight. Exercise more and eat healthier. Manage your blood pressure. Stop smoking. Drink only in moderation. Manage your blood sugar level and diabetes. Treat any underlying heart defects or disease. Chronic lower respiratory disease. Smoking. Asthmatics, individuals in lower income households. So get your money up, bro. And quit the fucking smoking. All right. Alzheimer's. Again, that's something for when you're over 65. So that's something where maybe we chill out on taking the health insurance policy to invest in that when we're 20. And then by the time we might actually need that, if by 60 to 65, you don't have enough money to take care of yourself in case you have Alzheimer's, you don't have a health insurance issue. You have a retarded idiot with money skill issue. I shouldn't be so harsh. Some people, not to shame some people, but it's on you to take control of your life. It's not on fucking rich people. Number 8, diabetes. Okay, children between 4 and 7, people with a family history of the disease or a specific gene, that makes sense. Type 2 that's for type 1. Type 2 diabetes more common among people who are overweight, people who are over 45, people who have a history. What causes it? Resistance to insulin and yada yada. Tips for prevention. Reach and maintain a healthy weight. Exercise for at least 30 minutes, 5 days a week. More than that, but you get the gist. Healthy diet. Blood sugar check. Chronic liver disease. More common among people who have a history of excessive alcohol use. Tips for prevention. Detox therapy, support groups, rehab. Right? If you feel you're misusing alcohol, see a healthcare provider. Nephritis, kidney disease, smokers, overweight or obese people, every time, or other chronic conditions. Okay, tips for prevention. Lower sodium, stop smoking and drinking, lose weight if you're overweight, exercise for 30 minutes. So look at that. Amongst the top 10, let's count up the percentages here. Okay, 1.6 plus 1.6, that's 3.2. 6.2, 9.4, 13.5, 18.2. Okay, we'll skip accidents and we'll skip COVID. 18.2 plus 17 is 35.2. Plus the heart disease is 20, so 55.2. So 55.2% of deaths in the United States are basically completely avoidable by not being a fat fuck. So if you're worried about insuring your health, quit being a fat fuck and your health will be insured. Let's take a look real quick at the most expensive procedures. Okay. Or 5 most expensive diseases. Let's see. It starts with 5 most expensive diseases. Alzheimer's, $321 billion. I guess that's per year. Well, no, it says in the annual cost of treatment. Let's see. Well, for Alzheimer's, 73% of people diagnosed with it are 75 or older. So further, if by 60 to 70 you don't have enough money to figure that out, you don't have an insurance issue, you have I wasted my whole life away not making enough money to have a surplus. 40.7 deaths per 100,000. Okay. Diabetes is $1 of every $4 in U.S. healthcare costs. 237 billion, I guess that's annually. Heart disease and stroke, 216 billion annually, 260.1 per 100,000 deaths, per 100 people die. Cancer, 200 billion. Obesity, 173 billion. Obesity is a factor in many diseases, but infrequently listed as the cause of death. Of course it isn't. Most expensive procedures. Exploratory chest surgery, common related diseases, cardiovascular disease, and cancer costs $137,000. Aortic valve replacement, common related diseases, heart disease, average cost $135,000. Esophagectomy, cancer. Okay, so that's how many of those are because of smoking? 113,000. Decompressive craniotomy, stroke. How many strokes are caused by having, obesity related issues? 112,000 is the cost of that procedure. Liver transplant. Why do we have liver issues? Alcohol, 101,000. Tracheostomy, pulmonary disease. Why do we have pulmonary diseases? Obesity, aortic graft, heart disease, and hereditary diseases such as Marfan heart disease, okay, 92,000. Transcatheter aortic valve replacement, heart disease, 85,000. Tricuspid valve replacement, heart disease, 82,000. Tricuspid valve repair, heart disease, 82,000. So all of those, I bet the next 20 down, the drop off on the prices of all of these surgeries drastically reduces to the point of like maybe that I think I'm willing to bet that amongst the top 20 most expensive procedures by 20, you probably get down to like 30, 40,000. Actually, it's probably less because between 1 and 10, we went from like 130 to 80. So it's probably like 10 to 20,000 by the time you get to the 20th one. And all of these top 10 ones are preventable by not being obese and not being a fat fucking alcohol abusing chronic fucking dweeb. Okay. All right, let me double check my notes here, make sure I covered all of this. Okay. So it stands to reason that the greatest causes of death have a strong relationship with what the most expensive procedures and costs are. So really, you just ensure your health by being healthy. What's more, I saw my friend here, according to... Let me find it. Okay, this was published. I couldn't find the link to this article, but my friend had a screenshot of it. They probably took it away because they're always trying to hide this type of stuff. According to the British Medical Journal, they took research from Johns Hopkins University. Researchers estimate that medical error is now the third leading cause of death at 251,000 a year. So you're going to pay all of that insurance just for them to fuck it up anyway and get you killed. Is it really worth it? It's not. So what's the answer? The answer is, if you're not having insurance because it's fucking gay and retarded, you save your money. Instead of giving $100 a month to a health insurance company, you give yourself $100 a month. And then with that $100 a month, you save it and use it if needed and keep it if not. Now, if you're absolutely destitute and you can't afford $100 a month to insurance, or you're going to say, oh, well, I can't afford that. How can you afford $100 a month to the insurance agency, but not $100 a month to save? That doesn't, both times you're out $100. So that's silly. So a lot of people with this concept are going to lose their minds because they're worried about people who are undisciplined. First of all, people who are undisciplined, there's nothing saying that they can't get health insurance anyway if they want. You should just be worried about you and managing this yourself. And if you're middle class, you can figure this out. It really doesn't take that much to get ahead financially. Everyone cries about money and all of that, but every time I look into that, it's because people are buying alcohol and drugs and all of that and living in a gay New York City floor-to-ceiling window apartment. So now the key with this is that since these things are probable and improbable, and you're mitigating the risks, You're only ever going to need some sort of drastic, dramatic health related cost by the end of your life. But if you were paying health insurance all that time, you're going to be paying $60,000 for a $50,000 surgery. So if you just save $50,000, you're going to be up 10K. And you get to keep it if you don't even need it. Now, some people are seriously, try to argue with me on this about, well, what about like the poor, undisciplined, retarded people? Well, they're going to be retarded no matter what. And, crazy concept, but maybe we should introduce a little bit more government intervention for those types of people. If they spend too much money on alcohol, then maybe we have an alcohol problem. Maybe we should just completely ban it, make it punishable by 20 years, and that solves that problem. But my freedom, my freedom. As if we need the freedom for poor people to abuse drugs and alcohol. We really need them to have that freedom. All right. Now, let's suppose that you're still not buying it anyway, and you're worried about debt or and whatever. So, firstly, before you even reach the point of debt, hospitals can't refuse you care if you have a life-threatening injury. And in other cases, they won't. In other cases, meaning that when you don't have a life-threatening injury or issue, they won't refuse you care because they still are offering a service that they want to get paid for. And the thing is, you might get a different price than you would if you had insurance, a lower price. Namely, that's because the whole health insurance issue is this circular prices arbitrarily being raised thing, whereby insurance starts to exist because healthcare costs are necessary, but some people can't afford them. So they take out insurance policies to afford them. But then since those medical organizations know that they could get more money out of the insurance organization, they will raise the price further, and then more people have to take out insurance because it's the higher the prices go, the higher up the socioeconomic ladder, the insurance policies need to be taken out. But the difference is that they arbitrarily raised those prices. They didn't raise those prices because there was an increased cost in manufacturing the service or manufacturing the drugs or whatever. They just arbitrarily did it, meaning that they don't lose money if they lower the price to accommodate people without insurance. For example, if it costs $5 to manufacture a bag of saline and you're selling it to to insurance companies for $100 to $120, and somebody comes in and says, I don't have insurance, you lower it to $50, you still made a pretty damn good fucking buck. $45 margin. If you made $10 or if you set the price at $10, you doubled your money. That's actually a good margin in business. So, but people like poor normies don't understand what it means to offer a good or a service to the world rather than their time to an employer. So they don't understand that when you offer a good or a service to the world, you just need a positive margin. Ideally, you want that positive margin to be larger, but you just need a positive margin at the same time. In fact, people will run sales as a way to increase purchasing, and they might even lose money directly on the sale, but they gained that money back in marketing, in encouraging people to then look into their store or whatever. So people who don't understand this really are like classically either low IQ or people who just fundamentally have this poor mindset and never could grasp the concept of breaking free from selling your time for money to work a job. Right. Furthermore, let's say the price is still high. Hospitals aren't going to make it, or medical organizations aren't going to make it hard for you to pay them. If somebody wants to pay me in Cash App, Venmo, Bitcoin, obscure money transfer app, check, cash, money order, whatever, I'm going to fucking let them. they can pay me however they want as long as it's money, credit, and so on and so forth. All right. So the way that hospitals do this is if it's too high, they'll offer you a payment plan. And that payment plan could sometimes very well just straight up not even come at interest or not even come at fees or anything like that. They might just let you pay in monthly installments. The difference there is that now you're not paying an insurance company's margin and you're paying for the service when the service is rendered to you. You're also not paying interest on a loan when you pay that way. You're just paying the direct cost that they likely gave you a reduced price for over the span of a couple months, if and only if the service was provided to you. So this sets us up to actually keep our money and quit bitch moaning about the price of health insurance and price of health care by saving our money by only paying for this service when it's rendered to us. Right? Now, let's suppose there isn't a payment plan, so you have to go into medical. You don't have health insurance, and you go into medical debt. The big, scary debt. The thing is, once they pay it, they can't take it back. No takesies, backsies. And now they're begging you for money every month. You have something they want. And there's nothing they could do about it. All they could do is raise the interest or compound the interest, report you to a credit bureau, and call you to cry about it. Now, let's say they report you to a credit bureau. Oh no, but then I can't buy a house. As if you are buying a house anytime fucking soon anyway, in the words of Sam Hyde. And if you do want to buy a house, you pay a credit repair agency $100 to repair. And I'm stealing this from Sam Hyde, by the way. You pay the credit repair agency. They send them like 1 million letters to try to up your credit price or your credit score. And even if your credit score can't get up, I've talked about this in my other video. If your credit score is low, someone will still lend you money because that's how they make money. Everyone wants to make money. If they can make money off of you with your low credit score, they might give it a shot. Especially because if your credit score is low, chances are you're like an idiot and you'll always pay debt as if they're the Gestapo and as if they're going to kill you otherwise. So quit being scared of debt, and it still gives you the advantage of not paying unless the service is rendered to you. And I'm willing to bet that that interest that gets accumulated on that debt is the same exact amount as the margin would be of the insurance company that you're paying. So, and then it becomes, well, what if I need a car? Okay, get a cheap car. You further have an issue. If you can't find a car for $1,000 to $5,000, you have a coping, seething millennial who wants a nice car issue, and you have a income issue that you need to level up, that you need to figure out. And if you want to take out a loan you want a better credit score so you could take out loans with better interest rates, how about you just worry about getting out of the system of lending money in the first place? Especially because the interest rate's not going to matter if you're financially capable of paying the loan off before the term ends. The interest rate on your car loan's not going to matter if you're capable of paying off the car in 6 months to a year. So quit being scared of debt. They can't do anything. They can't kill you. They can't hurt you. If they lower your credit score, it doesn't fucking matter. It's a number on a screen. You'll still be able to do everything you need to do. And that Sam Hyde video where he's like, dude, bro, I just hurt my leg, dude. I can't afford $350. And then when they say, how much can you afford per month? I don't know, dude. $3? You know, like, fuck with them. Fuck them. This is all from Sam Hyde, by the way. I want to give that credit. Fuck them. You have something they want. Make them beg for it. Make it painful for them. And then 20 years later, when you still owe plenty of money, they'll nullify it. They'll half it and ask you to pay half. They'll nullify the interest because, again, it didn't cost them any there was no manufacturing cost of charging that interest. They just charge it to try to scare you, but there's no cost of inserting that interest payment on. There's no cost to it. The cost of operation for them is covered by the original loan and the original interest in the first place. Right? So that's that. All right. So to wrap this all up here, let's just think about the final layer to this is, why are we pretending that health insurance isn't a fucking benefit offered to you by any workplace, almost any workplace? Specifically, workplaces with 50 plus employees. That's under the Affordable Care Act. They get fined if they don't offer health insurance to 95% of their employees if they have 50 plus. So they just all wind up offering it anyway. And it's always like, I think it should always be $0, but sometimes it's like, what, $20 a month? They offer vision, they offer dental, they offer health, they offer all sorts of stuff. So why are we pretending that we even pay for this health insurance in the first place? Get a job, and then they offer the health insurance as a benefit, and then you're good. So really what this is all about is, this is just your brain on poor, whiny millennial TikTok. So much so that this guy, this Luigi Mangione, decided to impulsively fucking murder somebody, which is totally an awful crime, a heinous crime, and it makes no political statement. It does nothing. All for a 200 word fucking essay that waxes total pretentiousness. And all because he's too much of a fucking idiot to just think about the things that I just went over. Master of Science in Computer Science, by the way. So if you need any proof as to why credentialism is fucking retarded, there it is. So this is just poor, low IQ coded. If you're pro Luigi Mangione, if you're crying about health insurance, you're poor and you have a low IQ. All right. You know, and this like libtard thing of thinking that because their existence, they think that because society has rules infringed upon them, that since society set those rules, society should also pay for them. But no, that's the price of living in society, is following those rules and following the mandate that you have to provide for yourself. And in return, you get the infrastructure and all of that, and the people being around you and all that. But they all somehow think that their existence entitles them to the further operation of their existence by somebody else. And this is just what it means to be a total fucking lizard brain, low IQ idiot. If we were hunter-gatherers and you think, well, you're entitled to somebody else getting you the food, now somebody else is doubling their energy output to provide for you. And since they're doubling their energy output, they really actually have to provide for themselves, the doubling of their energy, and then your energy. So this is like a clear, there must be some sort of evolutionary thing going on where there is like a clear subset of people that are like subhumanoid, and there are people who are actually like capable and intelligent and competent and sophisticated and civilized. All right. As for you, the best way to ensure your health, dig into it more as I have, is to just be healthy. Quit dopamine maxing and quit your fucking alcohol. Any other issue that you might have is so highly improbable that you'll just pay more than you ever would if you had saved your money. Save your money, use it if you need it, keep it if you don't need it, and use it for further investments or whatever you want in that case, except for dopamine maxing. You can use payment plans, you could use loans for when the service is rendered to you. instead of paying for a service that you may or may not need. Hospitals can't afford you care. Debt is fake, and realistically, the longer that debt is held against you, the further it declines in value because of inflation anyway. Remember that part? You could wind up paying $9 a month in exchange for, say, $100,000 that 20, 30 years later you still never pay. That hurts them. That doesn't hurt you. All right. So this is what it really means to have your eyes on the prize. My slogan, Marchese Methods, where we talk about muscle, money, marriage, and mentality. The fundamental key component here is get your eyes on the prize. There's nothing more masculine, alpha, capable, competent than that. And in this case, how it relates to this is if you're crying about health insurance and the prices of it, you're really not getting your eyes on the prize because you're not solving the problem for yourself. And realistically, there's always a solution. And the solution in this case is ensure your health by being healthy and just quit being a fucking idiot. So that's going to do it for this one. Be sure to like and subscribe. That helps me out. We got to get my YouTube up. YouTube is hating me. They don't like me because they're not circulating my videos. They're not giving my videos enough impressions. But Twitter is where us based evil alt-rightoids fare well. So my Twitter is doing fairly well. So be sure to follow me there. Follow me on YouTube. Like and subscribe. The comments and all of that. I hate hearing myself say that. But you guys gotta be loyal, all right? You guys gotta be loyal and help me out, all right? I'm doing the thing. I'm doing the thing that's in the back of all of our minds of trying to get internet famous, all right? So the least you could do is help me out, all right? So that's health insurance. You don't need it. It's fake. Luigi Mangione's an idiot and low IQ and low impulse control and a Redditor retard with no riz. So thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next time.